everybody, and welcome to Hann-Made Studio. I'm Cheryl Hann-Woodlock. In this series, I'm teaching you how to make pinch pots to create amazing sculptures. So stay tuned to find out more. This upcoming tutorial, I'm going to show you how to join your pinch pots together. That is the basis for all of these sculptures that you see. The pinch pot that we're going to make is like an egg shape. So it's the basis of this body for the bird. It's the basis of this fish. And it's the basis for a lot of my other tutorials that I have here on my YouTube. So stay tuned. I have two of them and we want to join them together to make a ball. There are certain things that you need to do to make sure that this all works properly. Now I have one of my pieces here and it is a nice round shape. This one is not quite the same size. Does it fit? It's not actually wide enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make it wider to join together. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to gently pinch this out so it's going to be wider to fit this other pinch pot. So I'm just going to gently pull it down and pinch out. Now, only do a little bit at a time and then keep checking. You don't want to make it so wide that you've got to press it back in. Now, I've done a little bit, just a little bit. Let's check it. It's not too bad. It's around about the same size. So it was only a little bit, as you can see. Now, if I wanted to go the other way and make this narrower to fit onto that one, I can easily put my hands around it and gently squeeze that in slightly. It's just very, very gentle. So it's up to you which way you want to go. So let's just check these. Yes, they're fitted. This one doesn't have a very flat top. It's actually quite up and down. It's actually going like this. So what I'm going to do to make that top flat is I'm going to tap it on my board very, very lightly. Now I have a nice flat top and you can see that that is flat. So these two are now having the opportunity to stick together really well. Before we stick these together, there are a couple of things that you can do when you're making the rest of your sculptures to ensure that it doesn't collapse. And this is one of the tricks that I offer. Grab a newspaper and cut it into pieces, and we're going to scrunch up this clay. Oh, we're going to scrunch up the newspaper and just pop it in. I don't want to press too hard. If I press it too hard in there, I'm going to lose the shape. That's a nice round shape. So I'm just placing it in very gently. And if you do a really big piece of newspaper, the chances are it won't fit as well as you would like. So that is still looking good. And I'm scrunching it up really quite tightly. And that, I can put a little bit more in there. And that's working really, really well. Now I can do the other side. So I'm going to just turn this over. And remember, you have to be careful that you don't change the shape of your pot. So be gentle with this so you can see that it's working. When I join clay together, I must do three things. I must scratch the surface, I must put slurry on it, and then I need to join it together. So I call it my 3 S's, scratch and slop to stick. In pottery terms, we call it scoring. So what this is you are making marks on the edge of your pot. And they're quite deep. They're at least 1/16. So if you can't see them from a distance, they're not deep enough. And these are really quite deep, and I'm trying to create traction in my clay. Now it's called either scoring or cross hatching because I'm making lots of little crosses. Now some people make big crosses like that, and they think that is going to be enough. That's nowhere near enough. You need to make lots more scratches. We're trying to get this clay to grip to that clay. So that is looking really good. I've got my scratches on. The next thing I'm going to do is do my slip or slurry. I call it slops. If I say slip or slurry, students who don't do pottery don't get it. So this is just watered down clay, and it is the same clay that I'm using here. Don't use a different clay because they shrink slightly differently. So I've just used water and clay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it on top. I'm just dabbing it on top. Don't smooth it. If you go around and smooth it, what you're doing is you're getting rid of all your scratch marks, and it's not going to stick there properly. So you need to dabble around that, and I need to go back over this and rescore it. Not going to put the slip or slurry on this side. I only need it on one side. I don't want it so wet that the clay is not going to stick together, only the slip is. I've got these two. I'm going to put them together. And as I'm putting them together, it's not very forceful. So they are just together to make sure they're in the right position. That's looking pretty good all round. As I jiggle this, you can see slip is oozing out. And that means that the clay is actually joining together. It's getting rid of that excess slip that it doesn't want. And now that is joined. I can hold it like that. I can try pulling it down. It's actually joined really well. And that is a good join. I can see where I've joined it, and that's not so good. So there are 2 things that you can do to smooth it back. One is gently rubbing your hands across, but sometimes when you do that, you actually press in too hard. I can use a knife or a tool, wooden tool, to go across. But as I'm going across, it's still got that divot. So what I need to do on this is I need to go diagonally. So I'm going diagonally one way. Now I'm going to go diagonally the other way. It's starting to smooth back, but it is flattening a little bit. That's okay. Now I'm just going to go over that way. So I'm going across instead of over. So we're now getting this really nice area that is lovely and smooth. So that's quite smooth. The other thing too with this particular piece is we've created an airlock in there. So I can manipulate this quite well and change its shape. It's a little bit like a balloon. It will stay fairly round. If you're too harsh with it, it will flatten just like that has a little bit. Now, to avoid that, the other way of doing this, I'm going to show you. I've got a piece of clay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a coil. Now, my hands are starting to dry out. I've just got a sponge, and I'm just dampening my hands a little bit. And I'm going to make a sausage. And I'm going to make that sausage thinner. So I'm just going to move that out of the way and roll this. When you make sausages, they often go square. This is a coil. But I say sausage when we're first starting because you understand what a sausage is, perhaps not so much what a coil is. I'm also going to wet my hands because as you're working with this clay, your hands are warm. They actually do dry out the coils, and we want this coil to stay moist for us. We want it to be easy to smooth back and to smooth into my pot here, my egg shape. So I'm just going to place it around my egg. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth this up. So I'm just going around, pinching a little bit and smoothing it up. So I'll show you again, pinching, taking some of that clay and moving it down. So I've now got only one side done. I'm now going to do this side and smooth that. Now it's really quite lumpy and bumpy. It's not particularly nice. This is where I can use my hands, and I can now just go back over that across. Go diagonally that way. And then go around. That now is a lot smoother. You can see that it's a lot smoother. I can also use and that is looking really, really good. It's up to you whether you want to use your hands to smooth back or whether you prefer to use a tool. You can use a wooden tool, you can use any tool that you like. I just had my knives handy and I found that easy to use. Let's finish. That is basically finished now. If I want to make it rounder, at the moment it's quite long, and that's okay because it'll look great as a dragon's body. So if you can imagine, I have a tail there and a neck there. It's also good for a dog's body. So you can make a dog out of it. This could be anything. But if I wanted to, I can now gently tap this back into a slightly rounder form. So if you're very gentle with it, you can re-tap it into a shape. So that is our egg form. That is our 2 pinch pots joined together, and that is done. So then you can check our next tutorials to see how to make all these amazing other creatures. Thank you for watching. I'm Cheryl Hann-Woodlock. If you liked what you saw today, please hit that like button. Remember to subscribe and ring that bell because I'm always creating something new. I'll see you later. Bye.